we actually answer the question as we go along. We save that to the last if we can ask question. Okay, thank you. As we talk about the property management, there's one unique challenges we've been facing. We've been getting many calls from the Airbnb short-term rental owners. As you can imagine, those property are left vacant for a month or two, even 3 months right now. I'm going to let Julie talk more about that, how we get through the challenge, what do we do, and how we overcome it. Actually, we turn those challenge into a great opportunity for our investors. Hi, Julie, go ahead.
Hi. I mentioned earlier that the segment that I specialize on is corporate rental. So we're going to come and discuss that just briefly first. It's a little bit different than the vacation rental or short-term rental that you probably are familiar with. And, a popular brand for that would be Airbnb. Corporate rental is in between the long-term rental and the vacation rental. It's a mid-term stay. Minimum lease length is 2 months, up to 12 months. Average length of stay is about 4 months. So we are in a different segment of the market when we talk about corporate rental. It is generally housing that is furnished and turnkey, so it includes the utilities, furnished property, very nice. Substitute for staying in an extended stay or hotel environment. And generally, it caters to a transition in the tenant's life. There are a number of examples of that. Common ones would be people who are relocating into a new job and need a place to stay temporarily until they settle. Another common example would be somebody going through a family change, maybe a death in the family or divorce, separation, and one member of the household needs to leave and find temporary housing until things get resolved, either going through a divorce proceeding, etc. This segment, we'll come back to it in a little while, but our brokerage has been specializing in this pre-COVID already for the past year. Mm-hmm. And now we are going to talk about how COVID is impacting that. Yeah. So if you can change the next slide now, or go back to actually go to the short-term, previous slide. I did some research. What Lynn mentioned about owners reaching out, I have also been experiencing this too. And I prompted me to do some research on what is happening if you are in the short-term vacation rental segment right now as an owner or host. It's a very difficult, for most hosts, a very difficult place to be. When the stay-at-home ordinance and rules came into place, Airbnb, one of the largest providers of this type of stay, they announced to all the guests that they can cancel all of their stays and will get 100% refund. Initially was through till the end of April, now is through till the end of May. Wow. And all of those bookings were canceled, and hosts were encouraged to return all the money. So this was, from a humanitarian standpoint, the correct thing to do. But if you are a host, it's a very brutal situation because you have lost thousands and thousands of dollars of bookings. And then even though it's extended to May, what now happens in the future to travel and bookings of this nature, right? Mm-hmm. So in a number of states, Texas is not one of them, but in a number of states, there have been local area or state governments who have actually prohibited short-term rental, period. They do not want it. So you cannot actually legally as a host even book in some of those states. Florida is a good example of this.
That makes sense.
Then we have international travel ban. So people coming in from other countries wanting to stay in one of our cities at an Airbnb. Well, now they can't even get here, right? They have no way to come in. Right. We also have restrictions traveling from state to state, where you get to the state, you have to quarantine for 14 days. It's not a vacation mindset. Maybe you were not prepared to be away for that long. It's difficult. So there's a lot of cancellations from state to state travel as well. And then we have festivals, concerts, conferences, all of those people that would normally book an Airbnb, those events are being canceled. So now you are not coming because the reason to be here is been taken away. So it's creating a really low amount of bookings for vacation or short-term rental stay, not just currently, but into the future as well, because all of those factors are going to influence the demand for that kind of housing, right? So the recovery for this type of host or this type of owner is going to be very slow because all those bans have to lift, all of those events have to start to come back before those bookings become healthy again. And that's exactly what's happening.
Yep. Yep.
So
you're going to get us a better news, right?
Yeah, so that's the downside.
Right.
For the Airbnb or vacation rental owner is a tough place.
Right.
But on the other hand, their property is furnished. A lot of times is a very nice quality. It is a nice alternative to a hotel. Right. And they already include utilities. They already include internet. They have it set up. It's ready to go. So what can they do? What is a good low-cost alternative, right, for their property? So not all properties will be good candidates, but many could potentially consider the corporate rental model that we do. So we have a couple of case study here that explain some of the properties that we already work on. These are existing in our portfolio and they are getting tremendous amount of occupancy. So we are good. So this one here, corporate rental case study 1, is in a community called Avery Ranch in Austin, North Austin. Very nice schools. This is a family home. An executive family lives here right now. They moved here from Brazil. And we take this property from the owner who was using it part-time for himself and then vacant for part of the year. And we did some enhancement to the furniture and decor, used some of what he had. And basically this is now leasing. It was originally, if it was a long-term rental, the rates would have been about $1,900 a month. And we are getting $3,200 a month. Is booked for the whole year, and next year we plan to raise it up to probably $3,300 or $3,400 a month, either for this tenant if they wish to stay or for the next. Extremely popular property. You can flip to the next case study.
Okay.
Slide.
All right.
Yeah, it's oh, sorry, this is okay, there we go. So this is a different property. Also, no, sorry, go back one more. The case study number 2.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Oh.
Oops.
Sorry about
that. Oops. Yeah. I moved too far. This one.
No, case study number 2.
Case number 2. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, there we go. So this is a different property, also in Austin, much smaller urban home in the city. So it is only a 1-bedroom house, but it's perfect for a single traveler or a couple. This has been my own personal property, has been corporate rental for 4 years now. We achieved 95% occupancy. The pictures are very accurate. It's very nice inside. And currently I have a couple staying there. They are going through a process of moving to Austin and they need a place for 4 months. Possibly they can extend. But I have had many different people go through here. Some are here on work contract. They like this property even though it's small because it still has a backyard. They can bring pets. They can cook in their own kitchen. It's much nicer than staying in a hotel. And they are in a real neighborhood. This is in Brentwood in Central Austin. So they can walk their dog, go to the park, go to restaurant when they open up. So it's been very popular to have this type of corporate rental where you are in an actual community with being in an actual home. A lot of our properties, not all of them, a lot of them are like that. Yep. Okay, so we can flip to the next slide. So we were approached, this is an example, we were approached by an Airbnb owner on the east side of Austin. She owned a 4-plex in Austin. Each unit is 2-bedroom, 1 bath. They are already furnished. Guess what happened to her? This is another phenomena, is City of Austin, they do not like the short-term rental type of model because neighbors complain, residents complain, they are too noisy, the guests are having parties, etc. So the city started really limiting the number of short-term rental permitting they are allowing for these. They do not issue any new ones. There's question about whether some people will have it removed. So this poor owner, she lost her permit. So she had all the place furnished. What is she going to do now? You know, she can only earn a lot less doing a long-term rental. So we explore with her the possibility of making this a corporate rental for a very small conversion fee. She needed washer dryer, maybe $3,000 a month. She can actually get these booked. They're in a good location as well.
Yeah.
So this is a real life example. I'm also talking to 2 other Airbnb owners right now in Austin who are exploring this possibility. And we're just putting it out there. If anybody is unsatisfied with their bookings right now,
Yeah.
we can assess your property and see if it's a good candidate. You know,
Right, Julie, the common question people has is, with the COVID-19, Airbnb's challenge, how does a corporate rental demand? I know it's very good, but you have the first-hand experience.
That's perfect. Thank
How's your
you.
bookkeeping? How's your booking right now?
So it's very good, actually. So the inquiries are coming through to myself and my assistant, so I can keep really good tabs on how many inquiries are we getting. So truthfully, the first 2 weeks when we announced stay at home, it was very, very quiet. And then it started picking up, and now picking up. And then I would say in the last month, we are at normal level of inquiries again. And so I have a bunch of properties that were coming available on June 1st. So this is an example right here, like 4 properties. Are they going to all book? And they are all now officially booked. The last one booked yesterday. So we have, and booking for, you know, the rest of the summer, out into the fall, etc. So we are actually noticing that people kind of held off on their plans, but now they can only put their life on hold for maybe a month and a half. They have to, if they are moving, they have to get on with their plans.
Yes.
So, and they like the corporate rental because the ones we are doing, they're not in huge apartment complex. They can actually socially isolate pretty well.
Yes.
They have their own yard, they have their own house, just in a different city, but they can still do everything to isolate if they want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we see some people coming in with registered travel nurse, professionals, relocation, all type of people. So think about this as solution between short-term rental and long-term unfurnished rental.
Right.
Kind of catch in between. What happens that Julie mentioned in the market space, there's really not many player or not many options for the folks to select from. The hotel is not a good option. They don't want to bring all the furniture. They only want to stay 3 to 6 months term. So this is a really good alternative. That's why for the property we manage, we keep them constantly booked.
Right.
Good option.
Yeah. One of the keys here, Lynn and I talked about this at the get-go. One of the keys here is people who have done a long-term rental model for their properties, they worry about the turnover, right? When I have a turnover, how much vacancy? I don't want to have vacancy at my property. So we have to do this. If we do this as a brokerage, we have to do it well. So we strive for 95% occupancy, and we are achieving it. It has to do with how we market and present the property in a very high level, and placing commitment onto this brand, and that's what we are doing.
Yeah.
So,
and the rent is significantly higher than rental, right?
Yeah.
So
it varies from property to property, but usually 30% higher or more, depending. If the property is actually, sometimes if the property is smaller, it can actually be quite a bit, even more, like 50% higher. So.
Right.
Yeah.
In terms of Airbnb owner, Julie also mentioned, want to highlight here, really probably you already have a furniture, you already have all the setup.
Yeah.
Take a very minimal effort to convert that into corporate rental. So good option for you to consider at this challenging time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Julie, for sharing that experience, your experience. I personally own a condo. Julie been helping just put a tenant in recently, a couple of weeks ago. So.